Close your eyes. Let us drift back in time, leaving the noise of the modern world behind. We are walking down a cobblestone street in London. The year is 1847. The fog is thick tonight, clinging to the gas lamps that flicker with a pale yellow light. It is quiet here. But if you step closer to that dark alleyway, or perhaps past the velvet curtains of a high society parlor, you might catch a scent. It is not the smell of smoke or the damp river. It is something sweeter, something chemical yet strangely inviting. It smells like frost and sugar and oblivion. This is the scent of ether. Before whiskey became the comfort of the poor, and before opium dens filled the basements of the city, there was the small glass bottle of ether, a clear liquid that promised a quick escape from the harsh reality of the 19th century. Imagine holding a rag, a simple handkerchief made of white linen. You uncork the small bottle. The liquid is volatile. It wants to turn into gas. It wants to be inhaled. You pour a few drops onto the cloth. The smell hits you instantly. It is sharp at first, stinging the nose, but then it turns into a heavy, sweet vapor. You bring the cloth to your face. You take a deep breath. The world begins to spin just a little. The sounds of the street outside start to echo, as if they are coming from a long metal tunnel. Your body feels light, weightless. The cold air of the room doesn't bother you anymore. In fact, your fingertips feel numb, a pleasant tingling sensation that spreads up your arms, to your shoulders, and finally to your mind. 3. Darkness. But not a scary darkness. A velvet, warm darkness. The worries of tomorrow, the debts, the heartbreak, the cold winter, they all dissolve into the sweet chemical air. For the people of the Victorian era, this wasn't just a medical miracle. It was a recreational escape. They called it the ether frolics. It sounds innocent, doesn't it? A frolic, a play. But beneath the laughter and the dazed expressions lay a dangerous and highly flammable addiction. Let us explore the story of this strange liquid, how a chemical meant to silence pain ended up creating a generation of dreamers and addicts. The year is 1845. While doctors were debating the medical use of ether, a different kind of experiment was happening. It was happening in the universities of America and the drawing rooms of London. They called them ether frolics. Imagine a cold winter evening. A group of young students, or perhaps polite Victorian ladies, gather in a private parlor. The curtains are drawn tight to keep the secrets inside. There is no wine. There is no whiskey. Instead, there is a heavy glass bottle sitting in the center of the table. The smell of sweet chemical frost fills the air. One by one, the guests take a handkerchief soaked in the liquid. They press it to their faces and inhale deeply. What happens next is a strange mix of madness and silence. Some people would sit perfectly still, staring at the wall, trapped in a beautiful hallucination. They felt as if they were floating, detached from their own bodies, watching the room from the ceiling. Others would react differently. The ether would strip away their social masks. Shy men would suddenly stand up and shout poetry at the top of their lungs. Proper ladies would begin to laugh uncontrollably or weep for no reason at all. It was a party of chaos, happening in slow motion. But there was a danger in these rooms that no one liked to talk about. You see, ether is heavy. When it turns into gas, it does not float up, it sinks down. It crawls along the floor like an invisible snake. And in the 19th century, every room was lit by fire. Candles on the table, a roaring fire in the hearth, gas lamps on the walls. One spark was all it took. There are horror stories from these frolics. Stories of a guest laughing in a drunken daze, dropping a lit match, and suddenly the air itself would catch fire. The sweet smell of oblivion turning into the smell of burning conduct. Yet, despite the danger, the parties continued, because for a few pennies, you could buy a bottle of magic. You could escape the soot and the grime of the Industrial Revolution. You could visit a world where pain did not exist, even if you might never wake up. But the party eventually ends. The guests go home. The candles are blown out. But for some, the silence is too loud. The addiction follows them home. Doctors began to notice a new disease spreading through the towns. They whispered about it in their medical journals. They called it etheromania. Unlike alcohol, which takes years to destroy a man, ether works fast. It changes the mind. The addict begins to live in a constant twilight. They are neither awake nor asleep. They stop eating because the hunger for food is replaced by the hunger for vapor. And then there is the smell. This is the most terrible part. An ether addict cannot hide. The chemical is so strong, it does not just leave the body through the breath. It seeps out through the pores of the skin. Imagine walking down the street and people step away from you because you smell like a walking hospital, sweet and chemical. You become a ghost in your own city. The mind begins to fracture. Long after the bottle is empty, the hallucinations continue. Shadows in the corner of the room start to move. Voices whisper from behind the walls. The comfort of the oblivion turns into paranoia. There are records from the late 19th century of men wandering the streets of London, their eyes wide and empty, searching for one more bottle, one more drop, to stop the trembling of their hands. It was no longer a frolic. It was a prison made of glass and gas. They had found a way to turn off the pain of the world, but in doing so, they had turned off themselves. Eventually, the fever broke. The world moved on. New discoveries were made. Chloroform and modern medicine replaced the dangerous glass bottles. The ether frolics faded into memory. The parties ended and the parlors went quiet. Today, ether is just a footnote in a medical textbook, a strange curiosity from a time when we were trying to understand pain. But sometimes, in the quiet corners of an old hospital, or in the dusty back room of an antique shop, you might find a bottle with a faded label. And if you listen closely to the silence of history, you can almost hear the laughter and the whispers of those who sought the sweet oblivion. They are gone now, resting in the eternal sleep regarding which they were so curious. We leave them there in the fog of the past. The fire is dying down in the hearth. The gas lamps are flickering out, one by one. The city outside is finally asleep. And now, it is time for you to do the same. Let the story fade. Let the scent disappear. There is no pain here, only the heavy, warm darkness. Close your eyes. Drift away. Good night. Now that the story is told, I want you to linger here with me for just a moment longer. Forget the history books. Forget the outside world. Imagine you are safe inside that warm Victorian study we spoke of. But there is no danger here, only comfort. Picture yourself sitting in a large velvet armchair. The fabric is soft beneath your hands. The fire in front of you is burning low. Watch the embers glow deep red and orange. Feel the warmth on your face, pushing away the cold of the night. Listen to the sound of the room. The old grandfather clock in the corner. Tick, tock, tick, tock. It is a steady, rhythmic heartbeat. Outside, a gentle rain has begun to fall. You can hear it tapping against the window pane. A soft, rhythmic drumming. It is washing away the dust of the city. It is washing away the worries of your day. Take a deep breath in, smelling the old books and the wood smoke, and breathe out, letting your shoulders drop. You are safe here. The door is locked. The curtains are drawn. The world cannot touch you. Focus only on the rain and the fire. Your eyelids are growing heavy. So heavy You cannot keep them open. Let them close. Let the darkness wrap around you like a warm blanket. You are drifting deeper and deeper into the chair. There is nothing left to do. Nothing left to solve. Just quiet. Just peace. Sleep now. Safe and sound.